Yesterday, I had a vision. While I was in worship. I had a vision of. So in the middle of us praising the Lord, and I had a vision. I saw Jesus, and he was high, and he was. How can I say this? Lord, help me to explain to people what I saw. And so as I was worshiping and praising the Lord, I, in my inner mind, and I just want to say that this was like etched in my mind for probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 hours. Like even now as I think about it, I can still see it. But it was etched, like I couldn't get rid of, like it was like sometimes I have quick visions and I can see things that God is showing me or whatever, and it's just real quick. Like if you weren't still before God, you would never even notice it happen. If you were just busy doing dishes or doing something, you would never even see them. They're so quick. They're just like little emphasis on, like kind of a little like kind of like, oh wow. But this wasn't that. This was like etched in my brain for about 4 hours. So I was, like I was saying, I was worshiping and praising God, and I saw this door, and I knew it was Jesus standing right beside the door, holding the door wide open. It was just like okay, in the background you can see like bright light. It was pretty much identical to that bright light, just literally like boom, like how that looks there. But it was just, even though that's beautiful, like it was just like there was a beauty about it that all I know was it was just like, and with the beauty that was coming from it was just like, okay, wow. Like, and the most amazing thing though about the vision was, it was just joy, like joy just coming from him, like incredible amounts of joy just coming from Jesus, like just emanating, like as if it was pulsating. Everything else was dark. So I want to explain this. Everything else was dark. Everything else was dark. The only light was from the door that he was opening. The only light, and there was only joy emanating off of him. And the rest of everything else surrounding was darkness. Everything was darkness, but like from him was emanating joy. So many scriptures came to mind for 4 hours as this vision was imprinted on my brain, and like so many different scriptures. Like one I was just thinking about now was I'm thinking about so many all at once. It's hard to narrow it down to a couple, but the light, there's no darkness within him. And I mean that door that was standing open, that he was standing by, and it was just like darkness everywhere else, and joy just emanating. And that joy, just remained on me, that joy that emanated from him. And maybe should mention the day before I had this really grievous stuff in my heart going on. Some very grievous things that I was praying about, working through. And this joy, and so obviously when you have grief and you're struggling through some grievous things in your heart, you pray for the joy of the Lord, right? You pray that God, because even in the grief, even when you're mourning and grieving or whatever, you ask for the joy of the Lord, because it is our strength. It's not just that's a cute scripture to quote. The joy was emanating off of him. The scripture that I was thinking about earlier, that I was just about to say about 2 minutes ago, was that on him was more than any of the joy than any of the sons of man. On Jesus. was like the oil of joy was poured on him on more than any of the sons of man, and literally it was emanating off of him to the point it was just like, man, I was just like well, I'm still smiling, but I mean there's still joy. I still have the joy of the Lord, but I mean it was like it's still I still can, it's still in me, but it's like I want to emphasize that to you. In the darkness, He's the one standing at the door that leads into the light. There's no darkness, although there's darkness everywhere, there's one who leads you into the light. There's one who is the light, right? Who is the good shepherd. And he's the good shepherd, right? And all who came before him were thieves and robbers. Anyways, I had that vision. I wasn't even going to get on here today at all. Somebody had actually asked me how I was today, so I was like, whoa. And I had wrote it down. I made sure I wrote down my vision. I had almost forgotten. I was going to sleep, and I was like, oh, I got to write that down. And I mean, it was just imprinted. I thought, oh man, I don't want to forget about this. Write it down. And well, I pray that God would give you visions in the last days. It says, and He did. He pours them out even to this day. That God would pour out dreams. He would give you would actually seek Him out for the inquirer of the Lord, for the interpretations of the dreams, the interpretations of your visions. That God would pour out visions and dreams upon you. And I bless you, and may He give you joy, for His joy is our strength. Bless you guys, and wow, praise be to the Lord.